Well, the first ever mission to Pluto is going to begin today. It has taken a NASA probe almost 10 years to get there. It travels absolutely billions of miles. I'm sure telling you exact amount of mileage on the clock now. Astrophysicist Sarah Cruddas here. So Pluto was downgraded from a planet,
I know, but when this launched, so it launched in 2006. And
it
when
was
it launched,
official a planet.
It was still a planet. So January 2006, Pluto was still a planet and it had 3 moons. Fast forward 9 years, Pluto is no longer a planet and they've discovered 2 more moons.
What is it? If it's not a planet, what is it?
It's the first of its kind. It's quite unique because I think in science we don't know so much about the solar system and about the universe. So we thought we had planets and stars, but now we think we have these things called dwarf planets. So they're not good enough to be planets, but they're bigger than other rocky objects out there. So Pluto is a dwarf planet. We've got other dwarf planets in our solar system, but I think most people still like to think of it as a planet as well.
And it is the furthest one away, isn't it?
The furthest one away, and what's really exciting about this mission is just like Rosetta last year, which I was very excited about, and I think you were too, Eamon. It kind of captured people's imagination, and the same thing's happened with this. So it was launched 10 years ago, it's been put to sleep, it's travelled 3 billion miles across our solar system. It woke up in December, and today's the first day it's going to start studying Pluto. I mean, we don't really have any quality pictures of Pluto. We have some taken from the Hubble telescope, but just like in the 60s and 70s of space exploration, this is really the first. It's the first time we've done something like this, so it's going back to a new era of first in space.
Yeah. Just run through, because when I was 9, I could tell you the order of the planets from Earth. So you have Earth, and then what comes next?
No, you don't have Earth. So it starts with the Sun. Yeah, there we go.
I've got my list of
then Venus, then Earth, then Mars, then you've got an asteroid belt where a dwarf planet called Ceres lives.
Ooh,
then you've got, there you go, then you've got Jupiter, then you've got Saturn, then you've got Uranus, which is the most unfortunate named planet, I think, then you've got Neptune, and then you've got Pluto, and then there's some other planets, or small planets similar to Pluto, and then beyond that, something called the Kuiper Belt, which is where all these rocky bodies live that we don't quite know about. One
of the really, really poignant, interesting things about this mission is that the man who discovered Pluto,
his ashes.
His ashes. He's dead, and his ashes are on board.
Yeah, so I think that was really sweet. Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, and the guy who discovered it, they've taken part of his ashes and they've actually put it on this spacecraft and they've sent it to the planet which he discovered. So it's often with space they like to do quite poignant things. So, for example, with the Orion probe, which went up a few weeks ago, which is the kind of like new era in space exploration for NASA, for some reason they had a dinosaur bone on board that. It's more a symbol to get kids excited. With this mission as well as his ashes, they've also got a bit of Spaceship One, which was the first commercial spacecraft to actually go into space. Richard Branson's obviously working on the second version of that. So there's lots of symbolic things which go with these space missions, and I think half the idea is to kind of capture people's imagination and put a different angle in things. It's not just about science. All these space missions are about inspiring people.
So I have to ask you about the International Space Station yesterday, because they thought they detected ammonia, and the whole American side had to then depend on the Russians. It's kind of interesting political play out there.
Yeah, so basically they thought there was a fault on the International Space Station. There were some alarms which went off. This kind of thing does happen all the time. It's not, you know, space is a dangerous place, so they thought there was a fault. It turned out to be a computer glitch, but just to be on the safe side, they kind of closed down the American section of the International Space Station and moved everyone to the Russian side.
I just think it's amazing, thinking of getting back to the Pluto thing, that, you know, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, they launch this probe.
Yep.
Just say they forgot about it. What happened to that thing we launched in 2006? Is that still there?
But it's going to show us the best of every picture it takes of Pluto from about April onwards will be the best ever picture of Pluto, and I think it's so exciting that we're going to a place within our own solar system that we've never been to before.
What sort of money does it take to have a project like this over all those years?
We are talking billions. We are talking a lot of money in terms of dollars. But it's not about money. I mean, we invest money in art, we invest money in science. There's so many spin-offs in terms of science and technology that you get from something like this. And blue sky science, which this is, always breeds something which helps us in everyday life. For example, CERN, back in 1989, invented the World Wide Web. So even though there might not be a direct benefit, there will always be something later along the line.
Amazing. I know you live in a constant state of excitement with all these events, just one after the other.
You make us excited.
You think that was good. Where do you get the sport from last night?